What's up YouTube, Jamie the Kid 00 here, or depending on where you're viewing it, Jamie the Kid CFV here. I'm making this video A as a deck profile of my Phantom Blaster Overlord deck, and B as a promotion video to my new card fight channel, Jamie the Kid CFV. It's really unimaginatively named, I know, but I figured I would create a place to move all my Vanguard content over to from this channel, and I'm going to be announcing this in the next few Vanguard videos I make, because I know a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh players who subscribe to this channel for Yu-Gi-Oh are, of course, getting a bit frustrated with this, so I figured I'd create a second channel, and I have done that, but there will still be Vanguard content on this channel periodically until people start to switch over and I get a good showing on that channel. So, if you're on Jamie the Kid CFV, hi there. If you're on Jamie the Kid 00, hi there. This is a Phantom Blaster Overlord deck from the new Set 5 stuff. This video should be going up 3 days before the general release, or 2 days before the general release. So this should be one of the first deck profiles for this online. So let's get right into it with the grade zeros. So to start off with, we are playing the Javelin engine. So we're playing the Full Bow as our starter. It is the only good starter, seeing as Black Goat isn't out yet. So there's not much else to say about the Full Bow. You ride the Javelin over the Full Bow, search your Blaster Dark, and you've got your advantage system going. We then play for our trigger lineup in our zeros, 4 heals, 4 draw, and now thankfully we've been able to cut that Accursed Darkside Trumpeter for 8 copies of a critical trigger, because now we have access to Death Feather Eagle, which makes it so much better, because now we don't have to change our playstyle for that stupid stand trigger. Can play the way you would if you're playing crits. For the grade 1s, as I said, we're playing the Javelin engine, so we play 4 copies of Blaster Javelin. Again, you ride this over the Full Bow to get your Blaster Dark, and also this aids the consistency of getting your Blaster Dragon to hand to do your Cross Ride skill, simply because if you've got Phantom Blaster Overlord in hand, you can switch it out for the Dragon, and then because you're playing more Overlords than you are Dragons, you're more likely to draw into another Overlord later on in the game. So, and he's just really, really good in tandem with Darkness Made of Mucker. So say if you have like an Overlord in hand, so you have 2 Overlords in hand but no Dragon, you can Mucker this, call him out, discard one of your Overlords from your hand for another for a Dragon, and then you have your Cross Ride enabled. Then we play 4 of the AK Vanilla, because behind a cross-ridden Phantom Blaster Overlord, this basically makes a 21k column, which is great. So, and to be fair, it's the AK Vanilla, so why wouldn't you play the AK Vanilla? Then for the more techie stuff, we play 1 copy of Nightmare Painter. I should probably mention that this deck was basically co-built by a friend of mine who's called Photon Wingal. A link to his channel will likely be in the description below if I remember to put it there. But check out Photon Wingal. He also built a Shadow Paladin Phantom Blaster Overlord build, and we basically determined that this card is essentially your win condition in the majority of situations, because you can early cross ride so often with this deck. You hardly even have to ride your Phantom Blaster Dragons. You can just go straight to Overlord and get Marker to get this out and charge your Dragons, which I will explain later on in the video. So I'm going to leave that to one side. Then I'm still a big fan of Garuru Bow, so I'm playing double Garuru Bow. I know a lot of people play Arian Rod, and I never actually use Arian Rod's skill, and this has the same base power as Arian Rod, but I use its skill a lot more, so I like my Garuru Bows. I like K in Royal Paladin, and this is K for this deck, so I like it. And then I play, of course, the 3 Dark Shields. So that was the grade 1s. For the grade 2s, we of course play double Blaster Dark. I don't see why anyone would play more than this. I've had comments on my past videos saying, play more Blaster Darks. I don't really see why you would, especially seeing as now that Overlord is out, it's nearly redundant to have this in the soul. I mean, unless your Overlord, you haven't found your Overlords and you haven't managed to ride one, there's no real point in having this in soul, because Phantom Blaster Dragon isn't going to be staying on the board for too long. So 2 Blaster Darks simply for the advantage system with Javelin. You play 2 simply because if you take the first one as damage, you can still search it. All sorts of things like that. Then we play 3 copies of Night of Nullity Masquerade. Basically, this is your Bedivere clone for the deck. When he is on the rear guard, if you have a Vanguard that is a Blaster, he will gain 3k when he attacks. So he's a 12k, and with a Maron behind it, that's a 20k column. So you do the math on that one, it's a pretty good column. And just having a 12k hitter on the rear guard is really, really quite good to have. He applies so much pressure. Love this card. Probably one of the best cards in the deck. Then I play double Skullwitch Nemain. Skullwitch Nemain is amazing. I've cut this down from the 3 that were in my original build in set 4 to 2, simply for space constraints, because I need to find space for these bad boys. And because you don't really find yourself using its skill all that much, you just use it to deep draw, to try and find things like your Painter, your Blaster Dragons to put onto your Blaster Overlords, more Blaster Overlords to Persona Blast, things like that. It's just good, and it's really good for guarding with, where you just call it, use its skill, and then you block with it as soon as you can, but it's not spectacular. Then bumping this up, like literally last night I was playing 2 Darkness Maiden Marker, but at the end of the test locals we had, my friend Wingal, who built this deck also, advised that I play 3 Darkness Maiden Markers. He tested this himself and found it really, really consistent. The reason why you play 3 Darkness Maiden Markers is because, as I mentioned before, it will bring you your win condition. It will bring you your Painter or your Javelin to set up those hands where you can get your Dragon into hand to Painter it under an Overlord and get an early cross ride. That early cross ride really does seem to hit very, very hard. And even if it's not the early cross ride, it assists with the... I've forgotten the term. It assists with the consistency as a cross ride. And I mean, even if you just draw into your Overlord and it's the first grade 3 you see instead of your Dragon, you just ride that Overlord, and then later on you can draw into the Dragon and make the Marker Painter play and put the Dragon underneath it. So it just makes it so much more consistent. It's something that Dotei doesn't have access to, and it's something that I believe gives this deck an edge. It just gives it a consistency edge. And then for the last grade 2s I play 2 Curse Lancers. If I can pick it all up. Right, on to the, of course, the meat of the deck, the grade 3s. We play triple Phantom Blaster Dragon. There is no need for a 4th, ultimately, because this card is just soul fodder and a partial rear guard. The only thing you're going to be using it for is to put him under this to make it big, or just use it as a 10k vanilla rear guard, ultimately. It's really awesome kind of at the early game, and if you naturally ride it over Blaster Dark, yes, it's 11, but it's really awesome for the early game to draw it so that you can Painter it straight under this guy, or Painter under your grade 2 if you fancy doing it early and putting the Painter on the rear guard as a booster. You can paint this guy straight under your Vanguard and have this guy cross-riding instantly. Sorry about that, I've just got a bad throat moment there. So we play, of course, the 3 Phantom Blaster Dragon. Then we're going to, of course, move on to the true boss monster of the deck, 4 copies of Phantom Blaster Overlord. Phantom Blaster Overlord is amazing. It is a cross ride which seems to absolutely wreck the meta now. I've been testing against quite a few decks, mostly MLB, but I tested this against quite a few different decks. And Phantom Blaster Overlord, I mean, you'll hardly ever use it as actual skill, but the fact that it's a 13k Vanguard is insane. It puts in so much work. Your opponent keeps on having to make 18k columns just to touch this, and that's a vanilla 10k and an 8k booster to make 18k. Or maybe some skills. But it's so hard to hit this, so you can just keep throwing away your 5k guards to keep this guy protected. So it makes draw triggers insane in this deck. So just the mere fact that it's a cross ride makes it insane. And then the Persona Blast, once you can keep beating your opponent, because if you have this with the Charon behind it, that is, as I said before, 21k. You're hitting, and they're often going to have to guard for 15k each time, unless they've got a cross ride themselves. They're going to have to guard for 15k each time, and then you're eventually going to wear them out of their perfect guards, and then you can go in for the Persona Blast kill when you're fairly sure 2 to 3 perfect guards have been used. So ultimately that about rounds off the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed this. Sorry about the throaty thing halfway through, and sorry about some of my stammers. It is kind of early in the morning when I'm recording this, but I wanted to get this kind of finished and uploaded so that you guys could give it a view. Otherwise, if this is on the Jamie the Kid 00 channel, please feel free to go check out my Jamie the Kid CFV channel. It is very bare bones at the moment. It has a profile picture, but I don't think it has a background because I don't have anyone to design a background for me. So if any of you are awesome background designers, please PM me. I need to start begging. And otherwise, yeah, please go check out that channel. And there should be some more Vanguard content up here pretty soon. And then otherwise, I'll be switching back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Fairly soon. So otherwise, I'll see you guys later. Bye.